Hi, my name's Paul. I'm CPD Manager at BB Training. By now you've probably heard about the changes in the Ofsted Inspection Framework, and you might be panicking about what the new terminology means and how you're going to demonstrate this in your practice. But don't worry, we're here to help you and we're going to explain them all in simple terms to help you prepare for your next inspection. Let's start with cultural capital.
Cultural capital is the essential knowledge that children need to prepare them for future success.
Simply put, it's understanding that children will arrive at your setting with different experiences from others in their learning and their play.
It's what you do through the EYFS curriculum and interactions with practitioners which potentially make all the difference for children.
This means that we're ensuring that we have individual aspirations for individual children, which are preparing them for the next stage of their educational journey.
As such, cultural capital is particularly important for the most disadvantaged children, as we must aim to close gaps in development for all of them to achieve future success.
Cultural capital is not a separate judgment, but it's threaded through your everyday practice. It's in your interactions, it's in your provisions, it's what you're doing on a daily basis.
It is not new and will already be happening in good provisions, and is demonstrated very much in the same way as you do with your British values.
Practitioners need to know what each individual child brings to the setting. What makes each of them unique? What is it that children have enjoyed at the setting? But also, where do we want to support children's development?
For example, a child joins the setting with some speech delay. How is that identified and what does the practitioner do for this child to ensure maximum impact?
Another example. A child joins the setting, they have little opportunity through their home life to engage with nature, as they may not have an outdoor space.
How is this addressed to meet the gap in cultural capital?
Cultural capital is also about providing access to rich experiences which promote the awe and wonder of the world in which the children live. And this is done through the 7 areas of learning.
This does not mean a child needs to have direct access to their focus of interest. For example, if they like the book Dear Zoo, we obviously can't bring a lion or tiger to nursery.
The child simply needs a skilled practitioner who can deliver experiences around this interest, then build and extend these beyond what the child's already experienced.
This can be achieved in a number of different ways, including songs, stories, role play, images and first-hand experiences, which is what you and your staff are already providing.
Experiences like this are vital as they encourage development of new vocabulary from the children, as they can talk about smells, feelings, sounds, and a range of other things.
Rich cultural capital will feed into all areas of learning, but particularly vocabulary, which is also heavily focused upon now in the inspection process. Some children will have access to lots of opportunities and experiences like this. However, this is not the same for all children.
So in summary, effective cultural capital offers rich learning opportunities to the most advantaged and the most disadvantaged children equally. This is Billy. He lives in a high-rise flat, so I plan lots of outdoor-based activities as he really enjoys it but doesn't have access to a garden at home. His mum and dad have recently split up, and unfortunately, they don't have very much money to do extracurricular activities with him. Billy really likes insects, so we have an explorer's case which he uses outside. It's just a magnifying glass, an insect jar, and an insect book which he really enjoys. We've noticed with the insect jar especially that Billy really gets interested and asks lots of questions. This really allows us to introduce new vocabulary to Billy, which really extends his language. This is Anya. She's been with us for the past 8 months. When she started, she was very unsettled and unsure of others. Anya has English as an additional language and really enjoys construction. I've planned lots of role play in our construction area to encourage Anya's language and play alongside others. Anya's really found herself in these activities. She's really developed lots of social skills and made friends, which has really developed her confidence in our learning environment. Next, let's talk about pedagogy.
Pedagogy focuses on the art and science of teaching, or how we teach and what is learned as a result of this.
Curriculum is not the same as pedagogy. Curriculum is what you provide and what is being taught.
The EYFS is our curriculum.
We plan and offer resources and opportunities based around the 7 areas of learning.
Pedagogy is how we differentiate learning for individual children. As a result of this, a pedagogy will look different from one setting to the next.
Remember Billy and Anya?
They're both interested in rockets.
Billy has used a backpack to represent a jetpack. His key person has supported this by asking Billy how it works.
I told Billy his jetpack would need some buttons to control it.
Billy's fine motor skills need some development. We've used badges to represent buttons and encouraged Billy to press them to start his jetpack.
Annie needs support in sharing. Her construction skills are very good and we now want her to allow others to join in.
We currently have the 3 little pigs in the construction area and we've offered different materials and open-ended resources for Anya to build with. This has allowed me to introduce new language with Anya and encourage her interaction with her peers. Next, let's talk about the learning walk.
The learning walk will usually happen at the start of an inspection, and this is an opportunity for the setting leader to explain how they organise the early years provision, including the aims and rationale of their own setting and the EYFS curriculum.
Leaders must share how they implement the EYFS curriculum throughout the setting.
Inspectors will then speak to practitioners about their provision and their key children to ensure the leader's overview and aspirations are embedded.
Key people will be expected to identify what they intended children to learn and what they want children to know and do as a result of the activities they've planned and the opportunities they have on offer.
This links again back to your cultural capital and how you know your children's individual uniqueness and how that was identified and what you plan to do for this child to ensure maximum impact.
Next, quality of education replaces outcome for children as well as teaching, learning and assessment.
The reason that outcomes for children have been removed is to ensure that the focus remains on the quality of education.
This new judgment places renewed focus on how the curriculum supports children's development through the 7 areas of learning.
This is where the 3 I's come into place, and we will discuss these next.
It will focus on how leaders use additional funding, for example the early years pupil premium, and measure its impact on outcomes for disadvantaged children.
Practitioners to ensure the planning of activities challenges individual children enough. This can be identified by the child's progression in the EYFS.
Children should have varied, stimulating opportunities which allow them to learn and engage with all areas of learning from the EYFS.
This will offer a balanced start to their educational journey, which in turn will develop a wide range of knowledge and skills to help prepare them for the next stage of their learning journey.
Intent, implementation and impact explains how the curriculum will be evaluated under quality of education.
Intent is firstly how you assess what children are learning, understand what children know and can do, and then what they need to learn. Then secondly, it is how you intend the children to learn and remember what is learnt.
Implementation is your pedagogy, how you plan to meet your intent, how will this be taught, and how will you deliver this in practice.
Impact is how successful children's individual learning is and what they can do as a result of the intent and implementation. Then also how you ensure children are learning.
Alongside your in-depth knowledge of your key children, your planning documentation will help demonstrate how you meet the 3 I's. To do this effectively, staff will need to have sound knowledge of their key children, how children learn, and what they will gain by using and understanding the characteristics of effective learning, or how effective your cultural capital is.
Staff need to be clear on developmental milestones and how these lead to the early learning goals.
Next, personal development, behaviours and attitudes.
Personal development and behaviour and attitudes was previously called personal development, behaviour and welfare. They are now 2 separate judgments.
These new judgments bring focus to what providers need to educate children on to prepare them for modern life.
What does this mean? Well, preparation for modern life requires children to be aware, respectful and accepting of diversity.
Ensuring children have a voice and respect the opinions of others. They have an ability to understand and follow guidelines. Or in short, children have been supported to develop an understanding of British values.
As such, the inspector will consider the ways in which children demonstrate their attitudes and behaviour through the characteristics of effective learning.
How you work with parents to improve children's attendance will also be a focus, as this forms good habits for future learning.
Inspectors will consider the extent to which leaders and practitioners support children's behaviour and attitudes. This includes how your setting helps children to manage their own feelings and behaviour and also relate to others.
It's important your setting has high expectations and supports the development of children's uniqueness and character, which, you've guessed it, is an example of cultural capital.
Personal development is what practitioners do to support children in this area. Behaviour and attitudes are a result. You can now see that even though some of the new terms are a little scary at first, When you look back at them, it's everything that you're already doing.
All of these things are connected and are what you and your team are doing on a daily basis. Knowing your child, following their interests to plan and provide for them, and supporting them to be the best version of themselves that they can be.